These are uncomfortably delicious.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Live Your Mission show, brought to you by Mission Meets, where our guests share their most actionable advice so that you can live a more mission-centered life. I am your host, Peter Alwood, and today we are joined by David Simnick from Soapbox Soaps and Bushwick Kitchen. And this guy, talk about someone who had a position in life they were working at that was kind of spurred on or encouraged by the good they wanted to do in the world. And then he backed into a business that could support that mission, also support himself financially and create some value in the economy and in that business. And so it was just a really, really tremendous story. I mean, you got a guy who decides he wants to make some soaps and starts out making it in his dorm room kitchen, right? And so I talked through all that with him. And there are some great nuggets of wisdom in here, because if you're thinking about trying to get your mission to align with a business to support yourself financially, it's a great episode. But then also he talks through the mistakes that they made early on, some of his tendencies of being a creator and creative, and how that affects his business and his company, and how he's worked to overcome those. And then he does something in the Reaper round no one else has ever done, and it's awesome. It's hilarious. It's very meta, so to speak, because of his Bushwick Kitchen sauce company. And at the end of the show, stay tuned for that. He drops a coupon code, which we had no idea he was going to do. And so I appreciate you, David, for doing that. But before we get into that episode, I just want to say, it's the new year. It's 2020. We are really excited about what's happening here at Mission Meets. And we've got a lot of interesting things in store for Mission Meets, specifically because we've got some new flavors coming out and some really, really fun stuff that we haven't done in the past in regards to flavors and formats and stuff like that. So I'm really, really stoked about that. But even more so, we've got some new brands that we're rolling out. And we've been working on these for a long time. And I am super, super pumped about them. And so some of them are complementary to Mission Meets, and then we've got some things that are kind of on the fringes that are kind of crazy. And so I'm really pumped about those. The first of those new brands will be rolling out sometime this month, early to late, even maybe late, early February, but hopefully sooner than that. And so stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about that on the show and via email and social. So keep your ears perked for that news. And I just want to encourage you that this is a new year, and we usually go into that with all of these rosy ideas and lots of optimism. Don't lose that. Hold on to it. And one of the things that we've implemented, and I've talked about it on the show before, is there's a book called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Thank you to Brandon Turner for letting me know about that book. But we're using that format and that framework, I should say, in order to help us not only set goals, these wildly important goals like they talk about in the book, but to allow ourselves to have the highest likelihood of achieving those goals. And it's through stuff called lead and lag measures. It sounds really complicated. It's not. It's very, very, very simple. And it's just like my buddy Jay Papasan talks about breaking things down from the someday goals all the way to today's goals and this week's goals and this month's goals. It's very similar to that process. And so either read the one thing or 4 Disciplines of Execution. And either way, you'll be able to follow a format in order to carry this optimism you have in January through to the end of the year and look back and be like, wow, we did it. Like, not only did we talk about it and get excited about it, but we actually followed a structure and a format to carry us through the year and actually get there. And so I just encourage you to do that, whether it's fitness goals, health goals in general, business, personal, relationships, whatever those goals are. Follow some sort of format so you can carry yourself through, and bit by bit, step by step, bite by bite, you can make it. and you can make it to the end and you can achieve those things. And so just my words of encouragement here as we start the new year. And even if you're listening to this in the middle of the year, start in following a framework so that you can most likely achieve those goals. And even if you can't get all the way there, you'll be much farther along than if you just try to use kind of optimism and your emotions to carry you through. Because we all know that not every day is rosy. But if you're following a process, even on the bad days, you can still continue to make progress towards your goals. So, all right, without any further ado, I bring to you my awesome and hilarious interview with David Simnick. Thank you. David, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, Peter?
It's good, man. How are you?
Oh, it's been a week. It's been a week.
It's been a week. It's a late on a Friday. So thanks for taking the time, bro. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You and I just got to meet a couple of weeks ago and definitely hit it off. I think we've got kind of similar ethos in our business and similar reasons we started. And so really excited to share your story and get to know more about it here. So we'll just jump right in. When someone asks you what you do, what do you say? And is that your current mission or is it something different?
So it depends. If someone asks me like, hey, what do you do for a living? I say, do you want the funny answer or the real answer? And most, like 99% of the time, people are like, oh, funny. Yeah, start with funny.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just say I'm a traveling soap salesman. And they're like, that's a good one. What do you really do? And I'm like, I'm a traveling soap and sauce salesman. And that's usually cause some laughter and questions. Usually people are like, wait, what? So yeah, that's what I do.
Soaps and sauces.
We started this baby, Soapbox, back in 2010. It did not look this way. This is many revisions. But we started that because I used to work for the United States Agency for International Development, and we wanted to change the way that a lot of people were doing water, sanitation, hygiene initiatives all over the world. We wanted to fund smaller organizations that really had an impact. And called up my best friend, was like, hey, I'm going to start making soap in my kitchen. You want to join? And he was like, that sounds insane. I'm in. Since then, we've been able to grow and build and expand. And now the brand is sold in 100,000 points of distribution in the United States, Canada, and officially, as of today, Mexico.
Oh, that's exciting, man. Congrats. 100,000 points of distribution. What does that mean?
It means like, so if I only have one of these babies in a store, that's a point of distribution. If I have 16 of those in one door, like a Giant or a Rite Aid or a Sally Beauty or a Walgreens or wherever we're sold, then that counts as a point of distribution. So 16 points of distribution. So if I have one SKU in one door, that's one. If I have 16 SKUs in one door, that's 16 points of distribution. So we have 100,000. And thankfully that number will more or less double in 2020. So we're very excited for that. And then a little bit different, we acquired this beautiful brand. This is called Bushwick Kitchen.
Stuff's delicious.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
This is actually the #1 selling chili sauce on Amazon right now.
That's amazing.
Which is a totally biased plug. So like if you're watching this right now, it's just like, you're like, that man just plugged his own business. And it's like, you're damn straight I did. Because I'm a hustler. I'm a traveling soap and sauce hustler. Yeah. I'm sorry. And you're like, it's gone completely out of the script. Yes. Yes, viewers, listeners, I have. So any brand that we have a part of our holding company, which is called Impact Driven Brands, has to have some type of social, economic, and the actual product itself has to be natural and or environmentally friendly. So we want to, through the awesome power of consumerism, both make the world a better place through the consumption of those goods, as well as have a direct give back, something that is not necessarily inherently a part of that purchase, that consumer maker transaction that is also making the world a better place. And that's where every time someone buys one of our Soapbox products, we donate a bar of soap. We've donated over 7 million bars to local homeless shelters and food pantries. as well as to our NGO partners around the world. I was at a board meeting of a foundation that we sit on, that we have the privilege and honor of supporting earlier today. We found out that there's been a 67% reduction in diarrhea-related illnesses, one of the top 5 killers of children under the age of 5, in an area that we've been working in Uganda for the past 18 months. That's mind-blowing. That's 20,000 people a part of this study, and there's been a 67% reduction in diarrhea-related illnesses. That's insane. Like that's like, you know, we make a great product that consumers decide to buy off the shelves and or on Amazon or Thrive, or Grove or Boxed or more shameless plugs. But like we are just a conduit. So like it's a consumer that's making that difference. We just make a great product that they then are able to support these amazing charities that we have the privilege of working with. So totally on my soapbox. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah. Put them on your soapbox. I love it. Dude, it's amazing, man. And it's interesting because you shared this diarrhea-related kind of stat with me when we met, right? Which is kind of a weird conversation, but at the same time, it's like, didn't know that was like, that would actually, you know, people are dying from that.
Yeah.
And so
it's a really shitty way to die. If we're gonna bleep that out, we have to bleep that out. No, definitely we gotta bleep that out.
Oh man, it's talking about serious things, but we can laugh, right? We can laugh about things too. And so explain to us a little bit about what you were working on when you started Soapbox. You'd mentioned the organization, very long name, can't remember it now. Why you were there and why were you there? Like, why was that something you were passionate about?
Yeah. So I worked for the United States Agency for International Development.
Yeah, that was the one. That was the long name.
Yes. And as a subcontractor, so I was not in like home office. But I helped basically find chief of parties, which are like project leads for people to go and work in country in order to achieve a specific initiative that USAID or the World Bank or IMF or UNICEF or Oxfam or whoever was hiring out this subcontractor to go and do these projects. And my role basically was figuring out what had been successful in the past and what had not. And that was a really interesting role because I just read all these like, you know, super thick after action reports about what we're doing in development around the world and what was the success and what wasn't. And I noticed a trend that there was a lot of focus within water, sanitation, and hygiene. These are often projects that are acronymed WASH. And they have to do with setting up toilets, getting waste out of communities, getting access to fresh water, teaching the importance of hygiene, washing your hands with soap after defecation or before meal prep. All of these super basic levels of public health that have dramatic effects when you implement them within a community. Mm-hmm. And I noticed back in 2009, 2010 that there just wasn't a lot of focus on hygiene. There was a ton of focus on water. Everyone always talks about water, but there's just not that much of a focus on the hygiene aspect. On like, hey, people need to wash their hands. Mm-hmm. So that was why we did what we did. We were like, hey, we should create an economic model. We were inspired by Tom's. We wanted to be a one-for-one company. We wanted to do one-for-one a little differently. We didn't want to ship from the United States. We actually wanted to work with local makers and or recycle within the communities that we had the privilege to serve. So that was the initiative and that was the motive.
Okay. So here's a thing though. You had made soap before?
Nope.
Okay. So I suspected that was gonna be your answer. So here's the thing, man. We glaze over this as founders, like, oh yeah, I had this idea and I just did it. How? Like, you've never made soap before and you just decide I'm going to make soap and then you start making soap. So a couple things here. One is that you were in alignment with your interest, right? Like you were there, you saw this need, you were there for a reason, right? And so because you wanted to help people, and then you saw kind of this hole in the market, so to speak, there and thought, okay, well, I can have my cake and eat it too. I create a business that's selling a really fantastic product, and I can also help people. But and so that's where kind of your mission becomes in alignment with your life and your business and the way that you're supporting yourself. But and that's a tremendous thing, right? And this is what the show's all about. But on top of that, it's like you actually went after it, and you not only went after it, but you went after it in a market that you had no experience in. Like you'd never made soap before. So paint that a little bit. Like paint that picture. Like what did that look like? You came back and you were doing what? You started Googling how to make soaps, and you're like buying. I mean, what seriously?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
So it was just Google. I just was like, hey, we should start a personal care company. It can't be that difficult. I researched how to make soap. I was like, I'll start making soap. But I think the other thing is that like, look, thankfully I'm a lot more tempered, and a lot more measured. But when I was like 22, I could do anything. I was invincible. I could run through walls. So when my friend was just like, hey, you ever hear of this company called Unilever or P&G or any of these? And I was like, yeah. And he was just like, yeah. They're multi-billion-dollar across multiple country, companies. And how the hell do you think you're going to win against them? And I was like, well, let's just start and see how far we get. So I think the interesting thing is that like consumer is not as difficult as one thinks, and in the same breath, it is incredibly difficult. But I think if you take a mentality of it's not as fast as an iteration cycle as like tech. So like books like Lean Startup and like Lean Startup Theory and Method and all that type of stuff. And Eric Ries is phenomenal about this, and Professor Blank at like Stanford is like the OG, like fast iteration, agile development thought process. It like you just have to have this mindset that like you are consistently improving for the consumer.
Yep.
And you find the right type of customers in terms of like retail partners that can help you. That are willing to co-create with you. So I think ultimately, like, we started because we wanted to solve a global hygiene epidemic that we saw, and that was a problem that was worth solving. And let's see how far we get. And then we got farther than we thought, and then we kept on getting a little bit farther, and then we kept on getting a little farther, and then we're like, oh crap, this could be huge. And that's when we went full time in 2012 and fully dedicated ourselves to like making this a reality.
Yeah. So what did the early days look like though?
Literally me mixing soap in a college kitchen. I lived with 6 other dudes in a house, and everyone was making Fight Club jokes because they were just like, yo dude, I'm in. And I was like, wait, what? Why are you taking your shirt off? This is weird. Why are you taking your shirt off? Yeah.
So you start making this stuff. You start making this stuff in your college dorm kitchen. And what are you doing with it?
Selling it.
Where?
Farmers markets. To my roommates.
How did that go?
First couple batches were awful.
Yeah.
We had to quickly find out that we needed experts. We needed someone to really help. So then we went to a different type of contract manufacturer, and then we went to a different type of contract manufacturer. And then we started making more, and then we started getting more distribution, and then we started selling more, and just kept on growing and building.
Okay. What were some of the biggest mistakes you guys made early on?
Everything. Everything. Our design was way off.
How so?
Our price. Oh, let me see if I can find. It's bad. So bad.
You still have some.
Yeah, no, we keep a copy of every single design iteration that we have. I found one.
Okay.
It's not that bad, but there's like, from someone who knows now, like design and marketing and a bunch of different stuff that we've learned, like this is old. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
That's new.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. There are some designs that we've put out on the market that like you'd see and you'd be like, so yeah. So we design was wrong. Price point was wrong. We launched for the wrong retailers. We didn't have the right type of marketing support. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't understand finance as much as we needed to, or inventory management, or there's a lot of things. If it could have gone back in time, I would have done very differently.
Okay. Name a couple of like some of the biggest ones that you feel like you were totally avoidable. And I ask it that way because some of the things you really just got to learn. Like you got to have them, you got to feel it. Yeah, you got to like. We had a really kind of painful experience this year with one of our co-packers. Cost us a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of headache. But I'm glad we went through it because I don't think anybody could have explained to us what we learned by just being hands-on with that experience. But there's inevitably some things where you're like, man, I really didn't need to learn that. Like somebody could have told me, just don't do that, David. Don't do that, Peter. And you could have avoided it. What were a couple of those things that you feel like were just, they were avoidable? And if you asked the right questions or had the right mentorship, you could have not experienced those.
I think we overvalued the mission.
Okay.
I think that we thought that the mission was a big enough differentiator, and then if we just tell people about the mission, that they're going to be like, "Yes, I want to buy that." And there is a segment of the population who will do that, but by and large, rule number one in CPG is the product has to be amazing, and
Mm-hmm.
rule number two is don't fail. Rule number one,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I think the other thing is that like if you're going to be in a commoditized market like we are, then oh, like you need to be better.
Yeah.
Genuinely you need to be better. Like, and it can't, like, the better has to be like significantly better, like 3x or 5x or maybe even 10x better. Like there has to be something about whatever it is that you're offering that is actually genuinely different and unique.
Mm-hmm.
Or the go to market has to be different, or the branding has to be so drastically different, or that you've catched a trend that other products haven't really jumped in on yet.
Yeah. You're pushing.
So there's been a natural trend. There has been a segmentation trend in terms of products specifically for this subgroup within America, or products specifically designed for this hair in America. There was a design method, had phenomenal design. It was the first real, like, if you didn't want to buy soft soap and you wanted to buy something that was a little more chic, method was your solution.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh my gosh, but it does have to be significantly better in order for you not to just like grind it out with other major competitors who have far deeper pockets than you do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of nuanced in like, what's your best advice? But now having become an investor in other consumer product goods as well as a mentor to some others, it's been really interesting to see uh, that advice play out. And where I'm just like, hey, like, you're just because you want to start a company and just because you think it's interesting and unique doesn't necessarily mean that it's interesting and unique by itself.
Yeah.
Like you need to find like that element that actually genuinely makes it different.
Yeah. I always like to say that you've got to win everywhere. Right. And so if somebody's interested in the mission, then you win. Right. But if somebody's interested in just the best damn soap they've ever used, you need to win. And if somebody's interested in the best value, and it doesn't mean it needs to be the cheapest, but it needs to be the best value, like the best bang for the buck, you win. You want to just win everywhere, because then that no matter what it is that's most important to them, you can shine, right? And the mission can't be first and foremost. I think that internally it can be, right? You guys can be focused on
Oh
this
yeah.
mission and what you're doing, but consumer facing, like, it needs to be the icing, right? But it can't be the cake, right? The mission's not the cake. They're coming to you because they want soap, and oh, by the way, it's amazing, and oh, by the way, they do something really great for the community, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and not the other way around. And so, for the listener out there that's got a passion and they're trying to match a business to it, or they're trying to match a side hustle to it, what's your advice to them? Right, like they are David in the kitchen thinking about making soap for the first time.
Well, I mean,
What do you like? Put yourself in that position and be like, okay, I wish I would have heard this.
yeah, and you've probably had this on your show, where there are people who, you can be a lifestyle entrepreneur or you can be a entrepreneur, or you can try to shoot for a unicorn, or I think there's some people who would now say that we're a lifestyle entrepreneur because we're running our company towards profitability and
Mm-hmm.
making money. I don't, for me, when we first started out, we wanted it to be as big as possible. Once we went full time, it was just like, we are going to be huge. And we didn't know what we didn't know. And we didn't know all the challenges that we'd run into. But first and foremost, for anyone who has a side hustle or is just starting out or thinking about being an entrepreneur, you have to figure out, what's your end goal. Do you want to be, the next Oprah or Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or, one of these? Or do you want to be in charge of your own schedule and, work a lot, very hard, but yet have some more flexibility? Or you don't want to have a boss? Or, do you want to go open a couple franchises and have, more, someone hands you a book about how to run a business versus, trying to figure it out and write the book as you're reading the book? Like there's two different ways there. There's a ton of entrepreneurs, throughout the world that have chosen this path in terms of having more of a lifestyle. And there are definitely a lot of entrepreneurs who choose to shoot for the stars.
Mm-hmm.
I think both are respectful for career paths. I think that's just number one. Because how you build and how you scale and how you go to market with those two paths are wildly different. So that's the number one advice I would say to anyone who would be interested in starting their company.
Yeah. And pairing it with your constitution, if that's the right word. It's like, you could want to be the Bill Gates or the Elon Musk or whatever, but like, is that going to suit your desire for the way that your life plays out, right? Like, you could want to make the most amazing soap company in the world and like just take everything over, be like, oh wait, I got to give up my life to do that, right? I got to work my tail off and have my health compromised and give up about a decade, and then wake up on the other side and have succeeded. But there's a trade-off there, right?
Or you can fail.
What's that?
Or you can fail. Or you can do all that and still fail.
That's right.
It's terrible, but like,
yeah.
Or that.
That's right. That's right. And so I think that our emotions can get ahead of us and we can say, yeah, these are the things that I want, not fully realizing what you're committing yourself to. Because being a lifestyle entrepreneur or growing slowly is not bad. It's not a bad thing. There's certain things that get glamorized that you feel like is the way you're supposed to do it, right? In air quotes. And I get people all the time that are like, dude, why aren't you in the stores? Why aren't you in retail? Are you stupid? Like, why aren't you guys doing that? Or I'll have folks that are in retail that are like, dude, what do you, I'll talk to them and say, why aren't you pushing e-com? Like, are you stupid? Like, why aren't you doing that? Like, and the thing is like, really, that's like not the right question. It's just, it's what you're suited for. It's what you have the most connections with. It's the way that you want to grow the company, right? It's all these different things, and none of them are right and none of them are wrong. They're just the way that you want to do them, right? They're right for you. And so I think what's dangerous is when you have this one size fits all approach to things, and it's not just business. It could be health or diet or whatever. I talked to Craig Emmerich on the show, and he was talking about the carnivore diet and eating brains and organ meat and all this stuff, and it's like, you can't say that veganism is right for everybody or, eating brains is right for everybody. It's just like what suits you the best, right?
Totally.
What agrees with your constitution the best.
Totally.
Yeah. So, well, it's amazing, man. I commend you for the journey that you've been on and going from selling or making soap in your dorm kitchen, right? Selling at farmers markets to this 100,000 points of distribution. I mean, I think it's amazing what you've been able to accomplish. And then Bushwick Kitchen and the delicious sriracha sauces that you guys have made. It's truly awesome, man, to watch that growth. So
definitely a team effort.
Yeah.
Absolutely a team effort.
Well, clearly your team's amazing and you've been recruiting very well. So
thank you. I make sure they have coffee. That's my role.
Hey, listen, all those things are important, right? Coffee's very important.
That's my role.
So cool, man. Well, dude, let's switch gears to the Reaper round. And this is where our guest answers some rapid fire questions while they attempt to eat I don't know, the entire bag of Carolina Reaper beef jerky. I mean, you do sell hot sauces, bro. So,
yeah, I don't know. Ooh. And you know what the craziest thing is? I don't have water up here.
You don't have any water.
No, we're going. I feel like I'm skinny dipping.
So I'll tell you something right now. I ate a whole bag, and the water made it so much worse. Like,
oh, great.
So much worse, because then it just like swished it all around. So you take a bite, and I'll dive into the first questions here, man. I'll let you eat that. Chew on that for a second. Favorite book? Something you could have, you read in the last year, or a classic for you, business, personal, whatever. What's your favorite? What comes to mind?
Ender's Game and Shantaram.
What was the second one?
Shantaram.
Never even heard of it. What is that about?
It's a beautiful book about how this one fugitive is running through and experiencing like all the beauties of Indian culture in India.
Okay. Why those books?
I think Ender's Game is really interesting because like it's kind of like the if Harry Potter was like rated R, more sci-fi.
Okay.
And then so it's like the hero's journey. Mm-hmm. And then Shantaram is just like the author is just so good. It's like his prose, like you can reread a sentence or a paragraph 2 or 3 times, and it's just as delicious as when you first read it. It's unbelievable writing. So first off, these are hot. I know I was like pulling off for a little bit. I was like, I'm so cool. Blah, 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 blah. And the thing is, I had a shiny forehead before. So don't think that this is me sweating. Yeah, these are uncomfortably delicious. Like, I'm working through these questions, and I'm just like, son of a bitch. All this. All right, let's keep going.
All right.
Ow.
Why the long hair?
Oh.
This is my favorite part.
It should be.
This is where I give a shout out to Hot Ones, right? Hot Ones is what inspired this segment of the show. I love it. And I just recently saw the Gordon Ramsay episode, which it's like when I pulled it up, it was like 50 plus million views. The guy is so unlikable. Like, I couldn't even believe how unlikable he was. Like, usually people that are like mean on shows and unlikable on shows, they get on there. It's one-on-one kind of banter, and you like him more. I liked him even less. He couldn't even complete a sentence without the F word. But then on top of that, he was just like kind of mean. But then he goes completely off the rails. Like, he's brought donuts and jars or squeezies of lime and lemon juice. He's like squeezing them into his mouth. He's spitting onto the floor off camera. Just completely loses it. And then he ends up having to run to the bathroom. It's really, really good. So I know why it's got so many downloads, because everybody wanted to watch this guy just suffer because he's so mean. Okay. Why the long hair?
It's part of the shtick.
Okay.
And actually people actually genuinely want to know how our products do in hair. So I use our products.
Yeah.
To take it down. I get people to, give it a run, and yeah.
Yeah. Like we told you 2 weeks ago in Seattle, you need to wear it down, man. I mean, you're like, you got the whole Thor look, If I had that hair, I'd be wearing it down all the time. I would never put it up, I don't think.
I don't know if I can necessarily put it down all the time, but I'll try. This is I'm struggling more with my hair than like me being able to talk on this. I think the hard thing about this beef jerky, dude, is it just stays with you. It's like the spice is just
it is not
right now.
It does not go away. And the thing is like my buddy Ryan Murdoch said on the show, you think you're just gonna eat more and it looks good. You're gonna eat more and it's gonna get better, but it doesn't. It gets worse.
It doesn't. It gets so much worse. Carolina Reaper Fabio moments.
Perfect.
Ooh, so hot.
So hot.
So hot. Now you can see it on the backdrop of blog. I want to finish this bag.
Hey,
and for the viewers at home, I've eaten half of this.
There. Listen.
Label. Don't let this label confuse you. Look at it.
Yeah,
See?
it's going. You're doing good. You're doing good. There's only been one person finish it on the show so far. That's Brandon Turner.
Really?
Only one person that's been able
1
to
out
finish
of
the bag.
13?
Yeah, so
Oh, man. It's going to be fun.
it's gonna be
Like,
fun.
I'm afraid of what's going to happen afterwards. Woo! I'm almost done. I might do this
You might do it, man.
just to win this. Do you say this to everyone? I should have watched all these episodes.
Do I say what to everyone that there's only been one person to finish it? There's literally only been one person to finish the bag.
How much more do you want to have this interview?
There's no pressure. I mean, this is not a peer pressure moment. I mean, if you want to be the hot sauce guy that couldn't finish the bag, that's up to you.
Oh, This isn't even that hot.
You should maybe even add some hot. You can put some of that on there, bro. You can eat it with the Reaper. It might be good.
You know what? If I had more of a constitution, I would have actually put more hot sauce on this. just to demonstrate that. But I would do that. You know what? Here.
Which one? Which sauce do you have there on your desk right now?
This is our weekdays. Got you chain sriracha.
Okay. That is good. You are putting some on there right now.
We're doing this.
Might make it better. I don't know. I think it'll make it a lot worse. But
That's worse. That's so much worse. Oh, butter biscuits. Woo!
for the person not watching, just listening, David realized that he forgot to bring water or milk or any other substance, which I think the water actually makes it worse, but need a minute.
I think the hair makes this so much funnier. Please send this to me. Oh,
you will get it.
Oh.
All right, you don't have to eat anymore. You can answer this question. You can answer this question first.
Man on a mission.
Hit me with a quote. You have one?
Yeah, my mom and I always said this when I was leaving the house. She would always say, "Have a good day," and I would always say, "Make it a great day." Whew. Almost done. Got one more.
You're a boss, dude. I love it. Your best under $100 purchase that's impacted your life most recently.
I'm still amazed by the iPhone. So I pay monthly payments because I'm just a part of their no. So it's over 100, but iPhone's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
You are crushing it.
I'm done.
I can't believe you're going to finish that bag. Especially
no water.
A little hot sauce added, no water, nothing to drink. You got it. You did it. What a machine, dude. It is empty. No crumbs in there, nothing. This is the best way to end the week, man. All right, got a couple more for you, bro, while you finish chewing that.
More.
Yeah, a couple more questions.
Dude.
In the last 5 years, or even maybe a little bit shorter period of time, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Organization.
So you were disorganized before?
I was creatively disorganized is a way that I would like to frame it. Did you mute? Are you laughing so hard? Did you mute it?
No.
Oh. Yeah, man. Creative disorganization.
What did you do differently?
I think just understanding that you sometimes have to slow down to speed up.
Okay.
That was a burp. Even that burp was on fire. There we go, man.
So did you chalk it up to being creative? and just say this
No,
is the way I ran, this is the way I operated, and then decided like, no, this is not an excuse. Like I need to operate differently.
I think I realized how much more work I was creating for my team, and I still need to improve upon this. But like, yeah, you slow down, get the organization, get the process right in order to speed up.
Would you call yourself a pyrotechnic CEO? Which is what my buddy Derek always says. Is like you'd come in a room, drop this huge idea because you thought it was so exciting, and then leave and then disrupt their entire day.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's totally that guy.
How do you keep yourself from doing that now?
Realize that you're interrupting people's work time, and just be considerate. Put yourself in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Notice how my answers have gotten so much shorter. Maybe this is why you do it.
I keep you concise. What should I have asked you, but I didn't?
Oh man. For any entrepreneur out there, or someone who's considering starting entrepreneurship, if there's anything I said that was helpful and you want to talk to me about it, just email me. We're at soapboxhopes.com. Just go to the contact us, send me an email. My team will field it to me. But there are thousands, not hundreds, thousands of people who have helped us to get to where we are, and that continue to help us as we grow. So I want to pay it forward.
I appreciate that, man.
So that they can be on your show and eat a incredibly painful bag.
You did it. You did it. You did it.
Remember, you need to put on some Bushwick Kitchen sauce.
You have to. You have to.
Experience.
You got to take it up. You got to take it up. Final question. What's your favorite Mission Meats flavor? Is it the Reaper?
Yeah.
You're Reaper. You are a machine, man. You are a machine. Well, dude, David, thanks for the time, man. I really do appreciate it. You absolutely crushed the Reaper round. If somebody wants to keep tabs on what you're working on, what's the best way?
You get a discount code because you're so special. It's called Live Your Mission. It's either on Bushwick Kitchen or Soapbox, or on either Amazon or our website. All you got to do is put in Live Your Mission 20 and you get 20% off.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Okay. Follow you on all the socials, I'm assuming is your other answer.
At Soapbox Soaps.
Okay.
We just go by Soapbox, but we started out Soapbox Soaps, but now we just go by Soapbox because we make so much more than just soap, i.e. hair care and skincare and a bunch of other stuff. And then at Bushwick_Kitchen.
All right, brother. You take it easy, man.
All right.
See you later, man.
Peace.
Thanks so much for tuning in. It means so much to me and the entire Live Your Mission team. Now, at the end of every episode, what do I say? I say, please subscribe, leave a review, share the show with someone, because that's the best way for us to grow this show, grow our reach, and spread the news about how other people are living their mission and how you can apply that to your life. So if you could do that for us, we'd really appreciate it. And then also, we're putting out content that viewers like you have asked, listeners like you have asked about, right? Stuff that you want to learn about, topics and people that you want to hear from. So if there's anything like that you want to share with me, email me directly, peter@missionmeats.co. That's peter@missionmeats.co. And I'll do my best to oblige. Now, if you would like to consume a bag of Carolina Reaper Jerky and do it on video and share it on social, and you want to be selected to win $100 of free Mission Meats products, and you also want the notoriety of being selected, which I think is pretty big deal, right? I think it's a big deal. At least in our world it is. And so if you want to do that, post on social, tag us, #Mission Reaper, and who knows, man, you might win. All right. And that's it for now. Till next time, get out there and live your mission. Thanks so much.